On the morning of my 24th birthday, I got a text from my father that shattered every illusion I had left. Sold your truck. Kayla needed a designer purse for her internship. Be grateful we don't charge you rent. 10 seconds later. Also, transfer $4,200 to your sister's school by Thursday. She flunked out again. But she's re-enrolled. You'll cover it. I stared at the screen, my coffee growing cold in my hand. At first I thought it was a joke. Then I remembered, my family doesn't joke. I responded, "You have lost your damn mind," he shot back. "Then get out. You're cut off." I packed a duffel bag and left the house I'd helped pay for. But before I walked out that door, I left a little gift behind. My parents didn't know what was coming next, but they would soon. Let me take you back to where this nightmare began. My name's Dylan Reed. I'm a senior engineering student at Western Hill University in Michigan, working 30 hours a week at 2 jobs to scrape together tuition and gas money. My parents, Derek and Sandy, insisted I move back in to save on rent. It was never about helping me. It was about control. They've worshipped my younger sister Kayla since she popped out screaming and never stopped. She's 21, pretty, lazy, and dramatic. Her resume includes 3 different college majors, 2 dropped internships, and 1 DUI she managed to spin into a mental health sabbatical. I, on the other hand, was the invisible mule they hitched their broken wagon to. Every semester, every paycheck, every overtime shift, I paid for myself, and often for them. The truck they sold? A 2012 Ford Ranger. I'd rebuilt the damn engine myself, my pride and joy, gone for a Gucci purse. The moment I saw that text, something snapped. I wasn't going to scream, I wasn't going to cry. I was going to end this entire charade, with receipts. After my 12-hour shift at AutoZone, I drove straight to my best friend Cassie's place. She took one look at me and asked, "What the hell happened?" "They sold my truck," I said. She blinked. "Wait, you mean like, stole it?" "No. My dad had the spare key, sold it." Said Kayla, "Deserved something nice." Cassie's jaw hit the floor. "That truck was your baby. You rebuilt the engine." "Yeah," I said, collapsing onto her couch. "And now I'm supposed to pay her tuition too." We stared at each other in silence. Then she said, "You know what you need to do." And I did. By midnight, I was back at the house. I moved like a ghost, quiet, focused. I wasn't just collecting my things. I was collecting evidence. Over the years, I'd gotten wise. I'd kept screenshots, receipts, emails, proof of every dime they'd guilted out of me for the family. Cell phone bills, utility bills, even payments I'd made on my father's Harley loan. From a locked metal box in my closet, I grabbed the original title to the truck, still in my name. From a folder in my desk, copies of Kayla's failing transcripts and screenshots of her Instagram posts from the nights she couldn't study because of anxiety. Bottle service, Vegas, selfies and toss baddie captions. I printed it all, I labeled it, and I placed it in a bright red binder titled, "In Case of Entitlement, Break Delusions." Then I left it on the kitchen table right next to the cat's food bowl. Next morning, my phone exploded with messages. Kayla, "WTF Dylan? Mom is crying!" Dad, "You ungrateful piece of trash. You will regret this." Mom, "We were just trying to help Kayla succeed. You always make everything about you." But my favorite, Cassie texted, "Just saw your dad lose it in the Home Depot parking lot. Looked like he was trying to fight the air." I sipped my coffee. Peaceful for the first time in years, but I wasn't done yet, not even close. By 6:45 a.m., my phone looked like it had been dropped into a hornet's nest. Missed calls, 71 text messages, 12 voicemails. The group chat was on fire. Mom, Dad, Kayla. Even my Aunt Vicky chimed in with, "You humiliated your family. This isn't how we solve problems." Funny, because I'd been solving their problems for 6 years. First came the denials, then the anger, then the guilt bombs. But I didn't flinch. I didn't answer. I didn't owe them anything. Not anymore. I stayed curled up on Cassie's couch with a cup of reheated gas station coffee and my laptop, going through files I'd backed up to my cloud just in case. When you grow up in a house where "we'll pay you back later" means you'll never see that money again, you learn to protect yourself. By 9 a.m., my sister's entire social media turned off. Just gone. No more duck-faced selfies with champagne glasses, no more grind never stops posts from her car that I'd co-signed. I smirked. Guess she didn't want her followers to know she bankrupted her brother to buy a purse. At 11:07 a.m., the knock came. Cassie peeked through the window. It's your parents." I stood, calm on the outside. But my heart was a jackhammer. Sandy and Derek Reed stood there like they hadn't stolen my damn vehicle 36 hours earlier. My mom was wearing her church face, fake polite, lips tight. My dad looked like he'd just eaten drywall. Dylan. We need to talk, Mom said through the door. No thanks, I said. You've done enough talking through texts. Let us in, son, Dad barked. You're blowing this way out of proportion. Proportion? My truck, my tuition money, my entire future sold off like a garage sale. Here's proportion, I said. You stole my property, tried to extort money from me and cut me off when I said no? That's not a misunderstanding. That's theft. My mom stepped forward. We didn't steal. Your dad sold it. Legally. I opened the door halfway. The title's in my name, so unless you forged my signature, guess what? That's a felony. They blinked. I pulled out my phone, scrolled to the police report. I'd filed the night before and held it up like a badge. Already reported. Case number's right here. My dad's face turned beet red. You called the cops on your own family? You're not my family. You're emotional vampires with a checking account. Cassie stifled a laugh from behind me. My mom gasped. My dad clenched his fist like he was about to throw down. Go ahead, I said. Hit me. Add assault to the list. He stormed off the porch, muttering every curse he knew. My mom just stood there, shaking her head. We raised you better than this. No, I said, calm and ice cold. You raised me to be your ATM with a driver's license. I shut the door, locked it, turned my phone off again. 3 hours later, Cassie burst into the room holding her phone. You're not going to believe this. What? Kayla just posted a TikTok, crying about you. I laughed. No way. She played it. The video showed my sister with smeared makeup sitting in her room surrounded by shopping bags. I just found out my brother's been keeping like spreadsheets of everything he ever spent on our family, and now he's suing my dad. Like, why? That's so toxic. The comments? Brutal. Wait, he paid for her tuition and she got a purse? Girl, did you steal his truck? You're the toxic one. He's your brother, not your sugar daddy. She disabled. Comments within 2 hours. By that night, my Aunt Carmen reached out. She's acting like you ruined the family. But I read that binder. Dylan, I had no idea what they were doing to you. You read it? Your mom sent it to everyone in the family, trying to make you look crazy. It backfired. Apparently, the binder was now circulating through every Reed family group chat like a cursed relic. Even Uncle Greg's siding with you, she added. And you know he hates everyone. I hung up and stared at the wall for a long time. It was happening. They were losing their grip. The lies weren't working anymore. That night, Cassie found me on her porch, beer in hand. You okay? I exhaled. No, but I'm finally breathing. I've got something for you. She handed me a manila envelope. Inside was a printed copy of a Craigslist ad. It was my truck, for sale, listed by my next-door neighbor, Tim Sorrento. The same guy who mowed his lawn shirtless while blasting Bon Jovi. The same guy who once said Kayla was hot for a minor. Oh, this is war. I stared at the Craigslist ad, rage pounding in my temples. There it was, my 2012 Ford Ranger. Still had my custom bumper sticker on the back window. Don't touch my tools unless you want to lose a finger. $1,800. Tim Sorrento, next door. Perv and family friend, listed it under his name. I knew what that meant. They forged my damn signature. I sat in stunned silence. Then Cassie said what I was thinking. You could press real charges for this. We weren't playing Family Feud anymore. We were heading into full-blown criminal court territory. Tim lived 3 doors down from my parents. Retired pipe fitter. Known creep. Once asked 15-year-old Cassie if she'd filled out since 8th grade. Yeah. That guy. I called him. No. Answer. I messaged through the Craigslist listing. I'm the legal owner of this vehicle. You've got 24 hours to pull the ad and return the truck. Or I call the cops with the VIN and a forgery report. 10 minutes later, the ad disappeared. But now I had a bigger problem. Who signed the forged title? I grabbed the red binder, scanned through my folder of auto paperwork. I found a photocopy of the pink slip I'd tucked in before leaving. My real signature, crisp and clean. I knew every loop, every curve of that ink stroke. That truck had been mine. And now? God knows what they'd scribbled to fake it. I called my bank. I called the DMV. Took 3 hours and 20 transfers, but I got confirmation. Someone used a notary service to sign the title. A mobile notary in Oakland Hills. Paid in cash. The name on the appointment? Kayla Reed. My sister forged my signature. I felt something break in me, not snap, not shatter. Just break. Quietly. Completely. It wasn't just a mistake anymore. It was betrayal with paperwork. The next morning, I drove to the notary's office. Small strip mall in the industrial part of town. The woman behind the glass. Recognized the name? She said it was a gift from her brother. Even showed an ID with the same last name. She didn't have a signed title from me. She had a pre-filled form. Looked legit. I notarized it. I stared at the woman. She looked tired. A single mom, probably just trying to survive like everyone else. I'm not blaming you, I said. But I need a copy of that form. For my lawyer. She hesitated. Then printed it. There it was. My name. Misspelled. The signature wasn't even close. Sloppy. Arrogant. Criminal. I got in my car and drove straight to the county police station. I'd already filed a preliminary theft report, but now I had proof of fraud. The officer looked over my documents and exhaled. Yeah, this is gonna escalate. Good, I said. Let it burn. That night, while I waited to hear back from a detective, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Unknown. You need to stop this before you ruin Kayla's life. She's just a kid. I screenshot it and sent it to Cassie. She called immediately. Guess what? That number belongs to Pastor Jerry. What the hell? Your mom must have sent your church after you. 2 hours later, my name was in the prayer chain email. Pray for Dylan Reed, who is facing spiritual confusion and legal darkness. Legal darkness? They turned the church against me. That same night, a PayPal notification pinged. Someone had sent me $800. The memo. Return the truck to Tim and apologize. It was from my mom. They were trying to buy me off with my own money. I felt a laugh bubbling up. Not a happy laugh. That weird, unhinged kind you hear in thrillers right before. Someone grabs an axe. I blocked her, froze the PayPal. Then I emailed my lawyer friend Maya, a JD candidate who owed me a favor from helping her move 4 times in college. She called within minutes. They're cooked, Dylan. The forgery alone? Jail time. And if the notary testifies she was misled, I want everything on the table, I told her. Criminal and civil. You sure? This'll go nuclear. I paused, then said, good. Let it go nuclear. By Friday, Maya sent a cease and desist letter to both my parents and Tim. She also filed for an injunction on any remaining funds in my name. Tuition, savings, the $800 trust I'd forgotten even existed. Then came the cherry on top. She forwarded me a document she'd dug up through court records. A trust fund, $18,500 opened in my name by my grandmother when I was 13. My dad had been listed as the custodian. Guess what? He drained it 2 years ago. I was done. I stared at the trust fund report like it had punched me in the throat. $18,500. Gone. Pulled out over 2 years by my father in increments of $602,000 labeled family necessities. Guess what necessities meant? Kayla's spring break in Miami, Mom's cosmetic dental work, a Peloton bike. Meanwhile, I'd been biking to work on a beat-up Schwinn I bought at a yard sale. I called Maya again. Can we use this? Oh, we can bury them with this, she replied. And I want to make it public. There was a pause. You mean like, post it? Exactly. Let the internet judge. That night, I uploaded a video to TikTok titled, My Family Stole $25K from Me, then cut me off on my birthday. It started with a screenshot of my dad's text, then a slideshow of evidence, the notarized forged title form, screenshots of the trust withdrawals, photos of the truck being sold online, Kayla's tuition invoices, all addressed to me, my binder, the red one. I flipped through the pages for the camera. I ended with a calm, tired voice. This is what it looks like when a family decides you're not a person, just a wallet. The video hit 100,000 views in 3 hours. By morning, it was at 1.2 million the comments. Savage. Your dad's the reason therapists are booked 6 months out. Kayla needs a purse, but not a conscience, I see. Please sue them, on behalf of every scapegoat sibling out there. Someone even found my sister's old cheerleading page and started a meme trend. Be your purse over, brother? I laughed so hard I cried. Finally, someone saw the truth. By noon, my mom called 14 times. I didn't pick up. At 12:17 p.m., Kayla texted, WTF, Dylan, take it down. I'm being harassed. I typed back, so was I, for 24 years. Then I blocked her. But the real bomb hit later that evening. I was on the phone with Maya, reviewing the next steps for legal action, when I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it. Something told me to answer. "Mr. Reed," the voice said. "This is Alyssa from Channel 7 Action News. I saw your TikTok. Would you be willing to share your story on air?" I blinked. "Like, news? Yes. We're doing a piece on family financial abuse. You're not alone." I looked around Cassie's apartment, still littered with fast food wrappers, legal pads, and boxes of my life. "Yeah," I said. "I'm ready." That weekend, I sat down for a taped interview. I wore a borrowed button-up and combed my hair. They blurred my sister's name and avoided my parents' full identities. Legal reasons. But the story was unmistakably mine. When it aired on Monday, my phone exploded again. This time it wasn't threats. It was support. Strangers. Friends. From high school. Even old teachers. "I knew something was off about your family. So proud of you. Following you on TikTok saved my life. I didn't know this was abuse. My dad did the same thing. You gave me the courage to confront him. I got job offers. Scholarships. Even a GoFundMe someone started without telling me hit $7,300 in 48 hours. But not everyone was thrilled. By Tuesday morning, I received a formal letter from my father's lawyer. "Cease defamation or face legal consequences." I scanned it, smirked, sent it straight to Maya. 10 minutes later, she replied, "Cool, let's play." She filed a response citing documented financial exploitation, fraud, theft, and misuse of custodial funds, then added, "We're filing a cross-complaint and seeking restitution." The next day, I got a text from Kayla. "You ruined Dad's life. Hope you're happy." Oh, I wasn't happy. I was free. Big difference. Then came the best twist of all. My grandmother, Dad's mother Ruth, called. I hadn't spoken to her in years. She was always neutral, always keeping the peace. But this time, "I saw the interview," she said. "I am so ashamed of what Derek has done." "Thanks, Grandma," I muttered, not sure where this was going. "I spoke with my lawyer," she continued. "I'm removing him from all estate matters. From now on, everything goes through me. And Dylan, your college fund is restored, fully." I blinked. "What? You're not the first he's stolen from, but you're the first to fight back. You've earned it." I didn't even try to hold back the tears. That night, I sat on the hood of Cassie's car, looking up at the stars. For the first time in my life, I felt powerful. I wasn't done. Not even close. Court day came faster than I expected. 3 months after the TikTok storm, I walked into the Oakland County Courthouse, flanked by Maya on one side and Cassie on the other, both dressed like professionals ready for war. I wore a clean shirt, my lucky boots, and a face that said, "Try me, my parents." Oh, they showed up too. My dad wore a too-tight blazer and the face of a man who'd lost control and still thought a courtroom could scare me back into submission. My mom wore grief like a designer coat, dramatic, useless, overpriced. Kayla didn't come. Shocker. The case? Financial misconduct, forgery, theft, custodial abuse, civil damages. My dad's counter? "My son is vindictive and emotionally unstable. This is a family matter, not a legal one." The judge looked over his glasses and said flatly, "Sir, he is suing you because you stole a truck and a trust fund. This is legal." Boom. The courtroom echoed with silence. Then Maya stood and started the slow, surgical dismantling of my father's fantasy. She handed over notarized reports, bank withdrawals, the fake title with my forged signature, the trust fund breakdown, and, cherry on top, copies of messages where Kayla literally bragged about keeping extra money from the truck sale. "Young Mr. Reed," the judge said, turning to me, "is it true you paid for your own education while also covering household bills?" "Yes, Your Honor," I replied. "And your parents insisted you pay your sister's tuition? After stealing and selling my truck? Yes." My dad stood up, red-faced. "He's twisting the truth." The judge raised a brow. "Did you sell a vehicle you didn't own? Technically. Yes or no, Mr. Reed?" Silence. "Yes." "Did you withdraw funds from your son's trust without authorization?" "It was for the family." "So that's a yes." My mother reached over to whisper something, and the judge stopped her. "Mrs. Reed, unless you're about to apologize for defrauding your own child, sit down." I swear, Cassie squeezed my hand so hard it nearly broke. Then came Maya's closing. "This isn't just about money. This is a case of betrayal, manipulation, and long-term financial exploitation under the guise of family duty. Dylan Reed deserves justice and freedom from the people who treated him like an ATM with a heartbeat. The courtroom was silent. The judge took a breath, then delivered the ruling. I find in favor of the plaintiff. The defendants will pay $26,800 in damages, legal fees, and return all funds related to the custodial trust. A restraining order will be placed limiting financial contact. Court adjourned. Boom! It was done. My mom gasped. My dad stood there like someone had yanked his soul through his nose. But the best part? The walk out. I didn't look back. I didn't need to, because outside the courthouse was a local news crew. Apparently someone tipped them off. Maybe Grandma Ruth. Maybe Karma. The reporter asked, "Dylan, any comment after today's victory?" I paused, then said loud and clear, "Sometimes blood isn't thicker than theft." The clip went viral. Again, TikTok, Instagram, even Twitter. This man just set the bar for petty justice, and I love it. His walk out of that courtroom needs theme music. Someone give this man a Netflix deal. My dad sent one last text that night. "I hope you're happy. You destroyed this family." I stared at it for a second, then replied, "You did that. I just finally documented it. Blocked. Done." But the emotional chaos didn't end there. 2 days later, Kayla showed up at Cassie's apartment. I opened the door expecting another tantrum. Instead, I found my sister crying. Actual tears. Not Instagram ones. "I didn't know about the trust," she said, wiping her face. "I thought it was their money. They told me you didn't want it. They told me you didn't care about anything but yourself." "Well," she sniffed, "that used to be true." I leaned on the door frame. "Why are you here?" "Got a job. Real one. Teacher's assistant at a daycare." I blinked. "Seriously?" "Yeah. No TikToks, no brand deals. Just diapers and snot." We stood in silence. Then she said something I never expected. "I'm sorry. For everything, I was their favorite and I still felt empty. You were invisible, but you had integrity. I want to change that. I want us to be brothers again." I looked at her. Really looked at her. This wasn't manipulation. It wasn't a performance. It was exhaustion, honesty, regret. "Okay," I said quietly. "But you've got a lot of work to do." "I know." She handed me an envelope. Inside, a check. $200. The rest from the truck. I made Dad give it to me. I exhaled. Maybe healing was possible. After the fire. 6 months later, I was standing on the balcony of my new apartment. 3rd floor, exposed brick, and sunlight like gold pouring in through the windows. A far cry from the mildew-stained ceiling I'd stared at for most of my life. My name was finally on everything. The lease, the utilities, the Wi-Fi, my life, and best of all, my truck sat in the parking lot below, fully restored. Fresh paint, new tires, engine humming like a lion in a cage. It had taken months and the help of Cassie's cousin Trent, but it was mine again, legally, mechanically, symbolically. One night in October, I got a letter in the mail from Grandma Ruth. Inside was a check for $10,000. No note. Just a sticky tab that read, "Go live." I cried harder than I did after the court win. Not because of the money, but because someone believed in me without asking for anything in return. I used it to launch a side hustle I'd been dreaming about, a mobile auto repair service for college students. Low rates, no scams, honest help. The name, Wrench and Justice. Cassie designed the logo. Kayla, believe it or not, helped set up the booking system. She'd kept her job at the daycare. Paid back another $800. Wasn't perfect, but real. That meant more. Meanwhile, my parents? Silent, dead silent. Rumor said my dad was trying to get rehired at the dealership he'd once managed. They'd cut off from the family trust, sold their Peloton, and put the house on the market. Legal fees, apparently. No idea if they'll ever recover, but I've moved on, because something wild happened the day after the news crew aired the courtroom footage. A man walked into the garage where I was helping a buddy change brake pads. Late 40s, clean-cut, good suit. "Dylan Reed? Yeah? I'm Brandon Cole, talent scout for a media production company. We're working on a series called Broke But Brilliant. We saw your TikTok. Would you be open to being featured?" I laughed in his face. Thought it was a scam. It wasn't. 2 months later, I was sitting in a real studio telling my story on camera. The video got 6 million views. I signed a contract to co-host a podcast on financial survival called Receipts Don't Lie, from broke, betrayed, and homeless to creator, entrepreneur, and advocate. And none of it would have happened if they hadn't kicked me out that day. Sometimes the best doors open right after someone slams one in your face. At my 25th birthday, Cassie threw me a surprise party. Everyone was there. Friends, co-workers, even Grandma Ruth, who brought her famous peach cobbler and a check with business license fund scrawled in the memo. As we stood around the fire pit on the rooftop, deck, music playing, and laughter echoing into the stars, Cassie handed me a small gift. Inside was a metal keychain shaped like a wrench, engraved with 4 words: "They don't own you." I choked on my drink, laughed, hugged her, and then just when I thought the night had peaked, Kayla stepped forward holding a little box. "I know we're not there yet," she said nervously, "but I wanted to say, thanks for not shutting the door all the way." Inside was a tiny crystal figure, a scale, like Lady Justice. "I found it at a thrift store," she said. "Figured it belonged with you." I held it in my palm, heavy, balanced, like I finally was. That night, I stood on the rooftop alone for a moment, looking out over the glowing skyline of a city that had once swallowed me whole, and I whispered to myself, "You didn't ruin me. You freed me." My phone buzzed, a text. Unknown number. I saw the video. "I'm sorry for what we did. I wish things were different." No name, but I knew the number. My father. I stared at it, deleted it. No reply. No. Rage. No closure needed. Because this was my story now, and I was finally the one writing it. What would you do if your family tried to control your future with guilt and stolen money? Would you walk away or fight back with everything you've got? Like, comment, and subscribe for more savage Reddit stories, because sometimes karma doesn't knock, it kicks the damn door in.